Imagine a life where desperation leads you to rob banks instead of declaring bankruptcy. Intrigued? Keep watching to uncover the unbelievable true story of the Gold Porsche bank robberies. At the Austin Police Headquarters, a bulletin board labeled the Hall of Honor displays photos of captured criminals. Among them, a few faces make you wonder what went wrong. One such photo is of an attractive young couple labeled Mr. and Mrs., actually two gay male bank robbers who expanded their crime spree from the West Coast to Texas. Then there are the photos of the two men behind the Gold Porsche bank robberies, a middle-aged white businessman and a young black man with a spontaneous smile. The Gold Porsche bank robberies were not the most heinous or longest-running crime spree in Texas, but they were a unique response to financial desperation. Meet Howard Farr, a 56-year-old car salesman from Austin, facing a personal financial crisis in 1987. His debts were mounting, and bankruptcy seemed inevitable. Howard, a former Boy Scout leader and Air Force first lieutenant, decided to cautiously enter the world of crime, starting with a business he knew well, automobiles. In November 1987, Howard contacted a West Coast car dealer who introduced him to Kevin Hutchinson, a young man also facing hard times. Kevin, a 28-year-old with big ambitions but bad luck, was immediately impressed by Howard's articulate and intelligent demeanor. Kevin had dreams of becoming the next Eddie Murphy or a nightclub impresario, but his life was marred by a serious marijuana habit and a series of failed jobs. Howard's first criminal suggestion involved stealing a Datsun 300ZX and driving it to the West Coast for a $500 payoff. Kevin, eager for the opportunity, agreed. Kevin's adventure in the hot car trade took him to Los Angeles, where he had the vacation of his life but never received the promised money. Realizing the car theft business wasn't profitable, Howard and Kevin decided to work for themselves, keeping their operations Texas-based. Their first bank robbery took place on December 14, 1987, at the Bright Bank in North Austin, using a gold Porsche 928 as the getaway car. Kevin, playing the role of a bank robber, entered the bank with an unloaded 9mm handgun and a hold-up note written in red ink. In less than 5 minutes, Kevin was back in the Porsche with a bag full of money, exhilarated by the ease of their first heist. The take was about $3,500, and both men were thrilled. Howard returned the Porsche to his lot, and they agreed to split the money later. Their second robbery took place on December 18, 1987, at another Bright Bank, again using the Porsche. They got another $3,500. The police were now aware of the gold Porsche, but Howard and Kevin remained undeterred, planning their third heist. On December 21, 1987, they robbed the First Federal Savings Bank, this time using a blue Chrysler. The take was over $8,000. Unbeknownst to them, they had picked up a radio transmitter during the robbery, leading the police to Howard's house. Howard returned home to find his house surrounded by police. He played innocent but decided to get a lawyer as the questioning progressed. Kevin, oblivious to the police presence, was enjoying his newfound wealth, only to realize his mistake when he saw his jacket on the news. Kevin's grandmother had written his name, address, and phone number on his jacket, making it easy for the police to find him. Kevin turned himself in, asking to be taken to Taco Bell for a meal before his arrest. He eventually decided to cooperate with the police. Howard was charged with 3 counts of aggravated robbery, while Kevin was charged with 1. Their partnership had come to an end. Howard's bail was set at $25,000 for each charge, while Kevin's was $50,000. Howard's friends posted his bond, but Kevin's family couldn't afford his. Kevin pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 10 years, while Howard, after months of negotiations, received a 12-year sentence. Both men planned to use their time in prison productively. Howard looked forward to taking classes, while Kevin hoped to hone his comedy skills. Howard was sent to the PAC 1 unit in Navasota, working as a clerk and studying business and computer programming. Kevin was sent to the Ramsey 3 unit in Rosharon, working in the canning plant and eventually being promoted to trustee for good behavior. And so ends the tale of the Gold Porsche bank robberies, a story of desperation, unlikely partnerships, and the consequences of choices. Stay curious, stay inspired.